Good morning and welcome to the 4th Diagnostic Leadership Summit. We are now heading into the industry presentation on Are Humans and Machines at War? Risk-based lab perspective. And for that, I welcome Dr. Mukesh Agrawal, MD Pathology, IFCAP, Director Lab Services, Vijaya Diagnostics Center. Welcome, sir. I now hand over the session to you, sir.
Thank you, Kanchi. A very good morning to the August gathering over here. It's my privilege to be part of this session, the fourth summit, which Eltes is doing in. And when the topic was announced in terms of futuristic in diagnostics, so it always came to my mind as what should I be talking of? So the immediate thing which came to my mind is, the current ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, which is there, and the current thing we are talking about deep learning, AI, machine learning, and all. So I said that it was an immediate thing which came to mind is okay. Let's have something which can be adopted to the lab perspective. And in fact, on that day, I was taking some session on the risk management of one of the thing. So I said, like, can I put it together? So there is always a tussle wherein the humans feel very powerful when they have an ammunition in form of a machine with them. So they are extremely powerful to that. And in fact, today being the day is 22nd March. And if we go back down the line about 2 years back, where the entire life of human changed to the coronavirus era, where we got into the lockdown. So it was, all into perspective where we are just looking at what if we human can do it and how can we adopt to that. So I'm just trying to put this into a lab perspective, just to relate topic. There are other good topics which are a part of this show, and I'm sure it will sing to what you're going to have in the future sessions, which is lined up very interesting over next 2 days. So, these are some of the jargons which I'm not going to talk of. Basically, risk management. We all know there are CLSR guideline. ISO talks very good on 2236 and on the risk management, and there is an ISO guide 73 for this. So I'm not going to talk about bragging about all this risk management. I'm not going to talk about how can you identify risk, what are the methods for doing that. So I'm just giving you a food for thought to take the snippets. You can start using them for your laboratory perspective wherever you are in. So it's a very general one. So coming to, like, we all dream of having a lab like this, a bit congested, but I've taken it from a pic from Select Science, and I'm sure we have much beautiful lab like this, but we would like to have a busy lab like this. But we again are bogged down into this particular segment where we keep on having some issues on pre-analytical, analytical, and post-analytical. So basically, we break down the lab process as we all do into this three segment, and we try to work around these areas independently, individually, so that we stand corrected. We keep on doing very well in those segments. So that's what we have been doing that, and typical human nature comes into picture. So these are some of the cartoons where when we have an alarm coming from an analyzer. What is this? And then we okay, my shift is over. I'm heading back home. I'm done for the day. That's it. And then a supervisor will work during the day, not in the night. And there are some cartoons on the sleep and all. And then we always say that to err is human and to forget is divine. So we always take that help, and we are very good in shifting the blame to other individual. And we take a proud of this particular proverb, which is helping us all throughout to err is human. And what we finally do is we are very happy where if there is something which is coming out from an instrument or from a machine, and when we all point finger that it's not because of me, it's not because of my peer, it's not because of my colleague, it must be because of either server or a machine, and then we are very happy to do that. Now that's leading us, but as we are moving on, if you look at it, this is a bit a busy slide, but I would like you to little focus on this is I would like you to take down a little more into the backdrop is how are we improvising? How are we changing our format very subtly? And we are incorporating machines in our life. And I don't remember that famous dialogue from the movie Three Idiots, which defined the machine. So I don't remember that. But anything which makes the life easy, it is a machine is what was mentioned. So if I have to break down the laboratory processes into three elements: pre-analytical, analytical, and post-analytical, in some way or the other we keep on uh, implementing machines in our normal life. A simple as directory of service or patient instruction, it is available onto the website where the patient can easily choose, and through an AI he gets a list of tests based on the diagnosis. It's available onto the website very well. What we've done is very easy is the order of draw and the close collection devices. Now, the technologies don't have to remember that. The softwares have been designed where he will get the tubes in the order in the same sequence where he's supposed to draw, right? Similar way, a controlled temperature logistics has been playing a very important role. We have data loggers, we have the continuous monitoring system, which is helping us to maintain the logistics. The biggest thing is which was recently announced onto the media as well, the drone transportation of samples to move away from the traffic jams, the manual transport, the boys carrying it. We are used to the pneumatic system in the hospital setup and a bigger system, but the drone transporting to avoid the manual transport. So if you look at it, we are doing it in a bits and way to see that we are having the machines in our life. And similar way, in analytical, there has been humongous approaches, sample sorters. We have a track system. The machine gives us the QC protocols. It doesn't allow us to proceed with the QC's passing. There are calibration reminders. There are good asset management system. The temperature is getting monitored online, and if it doesn't reach the particular temperature, it doesn't allow us to proceed for the test. To have a better and a safe working atmosphere for the places of histopathology, the radio diagnosis, and all, we have a continuous monitoring of xylene and formalin fumes also. We are able to make our life easier through the ergonomic designs of our pipettes, multi-channel pipettes, pipette stations, autoloaders, and also we have been using them very well. So these are some of the examples of your analytical tool. In a similar way, we have moved very significantly to the post-analytical, where we have a very good documentation management system, and we have moved into very effective sample archival and retrieval mechanism. So I'm just giving you a food for thought is at every step there is we have incorporated our machines in our daily life, but while doing so, we have also seen that we are taking the risk into consideration, and we are taking the steps. How are we mitigating the risk in a very simple way? Through effective documentation to control processes. So that is also going on. So if you look at it, my topic is basically risk-based lab perspective. So what I'm trying to give you highlight is how humans have modulated into machine through a little, baby steps of having the risk mitigation steps into process and make the process more effective. Now the same thing I have just bifurcated into an Excel sheet, which will give you, a little more insight into what the patient identifier talks about from handwritten to barcodes. The sample collection I've already spoken about, transportation spoken about. The volume of samples, because of very effective machinery, we have moved from mLs to microliters or picoliters. The reports, thanks to digitalization, auto verifications, alias, image signature, moved on to digital signature, we are able to do that. Patient awareness, I talked about that. Instead of limited knowledge, no feedback, we have moved to proactive websites and taking the feedback for the NPS scores and all. The previous session was talking about that. The DQ, IQ, PQ of the machine has helped us to do that. So, these are some of the advances we have done in a very subtle way. The calibration, which was not aware, we have now moved on to the cal factors. We have taken uncertainty of measurements into our system. There is a huge movement on the human capital resource requirement. Now, earlier the hiring was more on a seniority. Now, if you look at there is an effective inclusive training program and a feedback mechanism which has built in, where human is playing a very important role to control machines. Same way, the microscopy has moved from a typical microscope to digital capture, WSIs. Cytogenetics have moved from manual imaging to metaphase finders. So on and so forth. So, but again, the human will be human. I won't say men will be men, but human will be human. So instead of the typical barcode, what we have done is to minimize the risk is we want the names to be on the barcodes. Though we know that the barcodes can be read by the machine, but we want the name should be there on the barcodes. Similar way, the interface is being done, but there is always an element of interface verification, that is my result getting transmitted right. But if we trust machines, we should allow them to do whatever they want. But we want a human factor to be there to ensure that we are not leading to a wrong path. We have good refrigerators, deep freezers with an inbuilt alarm. But what we do is we do an alarm verification. We have a verification that does the alarm make a sound, and if it makes a sound, how does it listen to that? I would like to listen to that alarm. Then I would like to review whether it's recording properly or not, whether temperature is maintained. So we don't trust machine in toto. We always have a human element factored in to see that it is performing very well. The storage, there is a backup storage. We all have a very good documentation of DR, archival, and all. But again, we look at tape storages, cloud storages. Does the data which I have backed up, is it working fine? Do I would like to re-verify that thing? So there is always a human element, that what if machine makes a mistake? I should not be signaled out. So I take all the precaution to ensure that the work which is done by machine is perfect. Now, this is some of the cartoon for when there is no automation, we have more people with the equivalent machines, but we have partial automation, less people, and then full automation with very minimal people with good automation. So this is going to talk about. We are very well aware about, and some of my colleagues and seniors are going to talk about total lab automation, the advantage and the disadvantages. So I'm not going to spend time on that because I think I've got limited time, and this is a huge topic, and 15 minutes are too less to cover. So my apologies for rushing through the slides, but the idea is basically to see that there are certain human activities which humans can do. They can lead, empathize, they can create and judge, whereas machine can transact, they can iterate, they can predict, and they can adopt. But when we combine together, we are very powerful together, where the fusion skill misses with the human and machine hybrids. So, in summary, what I would say is computers can do a computational task. Humans can do a recognition task better. When it comes to reasoning, which require a humongous amount of knowledge to get processed, the humans fare far better than computers. But there is a caveat. We should not start thinking too much and to give a lot of reasoning. But it is good to make a system robust. And I'm sure a lot of us are very familiar with this Chitty, the movie from Robo, where we don't want our labs to be run by the robots and the chitties being taken it over, where the cat will be, to call it a category, we'll call it as a composition of iron, lithium, and neon, because it's belongs to the feline category. And this is again, I think this must be practical. This is again from the clinical laboratory news, where ABB is developing robots to ferry the plates in the lab. We have the pipetting being done, the robot being taking out the tubes from the centrifuge. So, but we would like to have the humans being in the lab as well. So this can help us to do the non-productive work. But finally, yes, we don't want the entire lab to be replaced by the robots, and we don't have anyone to talk of. And to conclude on my talk is, the magnificent engine bird, the aeroplane, if it has to be parked, grounded in the way we want, the only humans can guide and tame this big bird so that it falls into the place. Otherwise, we know what disaster it can carry. So, with this, I would like to conclude with a thought that though I have given you a snapshot about the risk, the automation. So, my request and my urge to the team member is, uh, please think twice, have the risk mitigation be in place, see to it that when we are adopting to the lab automation, we have all the risks and the benefits being evaluated, and avoid using the shortcuts for making the things speedier, which will impact the patient safety in danger. So, with this, I would like to thank you, everyone over here, and I hope I have able to convey my message about using an automation with a risk perspective in the laboratory, so that we do not compromise on the patient safety. Thank you very much for this time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for your outstanding presentation. It was really great listening to you. We would like to inform our esteemed gathering about our upcoming events, which are the 4th Farmer Leadership Summit on the 26th and 27th of April, the 3rd Radiology and Imaging Summit on the 26th and 27th of May, and the Medical Education Summit on the 23rd and 24th of June. We look forward for your constant support in future. So please accept a small token of gratitude from our end that we present to you for your insightful presentation on our humans, machine, and machines, our world. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Fanchi. Thanks, team, for having me here. Thank you very much.